Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Alternative Cycling Network, where we give you unsponsored and unfiltered hot takes on the bike industry. I'm Russ, one of your hosts, and I'm joined by Michael from Locked In. And my name is Eric, but on YouTube, I'm at SpinDad. I can't tell if you're laggy if you're moving like that.
I think it's both. I think it's an equal amount of both.
I move like that.
Yeah. Constantly doing the robot. So in this tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the global bike shortage. Apparently, bikes are like toilet paper insofar as they're in short supply. Would not use it like toilet paper, however. But before we get there, we're going to do channel updates, and we're going to introduce a new segment where we share some of your rides. We did a call out on Instagram for you guys to send pictures of your bike in a short description. And, I think initially we said we're going to feature 3 of them, but we had, I feel like 30 to 40 responses, and they were so good and so weird. So yeah. I expanded it to 10. But before we do that, let's do channel updates. Mike, what's been going on your channel?
So I just published a WTB Ranger 2.0 tire review. I was testing those tires out basically as somebody who potentially now the new crop of gravel bikes, I think, clears more than a 47 or 48. So I wanted to test out something that was a little bit bigger as far as like more of a plus size. And I think it was great. It's basically like if you liked the Senduros, but your frame clears more, this is like the bigger, more supple, grippier brother. So I was really happy with them. So that's what I just posted out. And then next week I have coming my Kyventure Maglock Caddy, which is kind of an interesting take on a snack caddy from Kyventure. It's more of a square setup with a magnet kind of closure. But the benefit is it with the square shape instead of the round, like most snack caddies are, it really works well for your electronics. So if you're trying to carry a GoPro or a point and shoot camera or a small mirrorless with like a pancake lens, it's like the best thing for that.
So does the caddy goes on the front of the handlebars, or is it like a thing? Yeah.
No, so it's front of the handle. So it's just like where your snack caddy goes. So between this, it mounts to the stem and the bar, and then there's an elastic piece that goes under the fork. You can do it to the head tube as well. But the great thing, like I said, is it's a little bit different shaped. It's got the side and front pockets and loops and everything. So it's got all the storage that you need on the outside. But I've been really, really enjoying it.
Right. Cool. How about you, Eric? What's been going on in Canada? That's pronounced, right?
Canadian. I fixed a tire with a thread and needle.
That was dope. That was seriously super cool.
And it's like working. Like it's working really well. I don't remember what the Tinker Tuesday upload was. I literally like Mike is always Mike, you're always so ready to like answer these. And then like while you're answering, and I'm like,
but you did that, and then you like fixed a couple bikes. You talked about the rock hopper.
Yeah, like I used the rock hopper as a metaphor to talk about how like excited I am about like where my channel is and like where it could go. Because like as COVID has kind of started to calm down a little bit, the ad revenue through all of the ways that us as YouTubers can make money have not gone back to like a good level, but they're certainly starting to look like they could. And I'm like, wow, this is like the best month I've done without as much effort. And I'm like, wow, okay, well that is exciting. So that's motivating. So that was where I wanted to make that video, where I was like, okay, like I think my efforts and previous efforts are really, really finally starting to pay off. That's exciting. Also, I made it over 25,000 subscribers. Still the lowest.
Yeah,
out of the 3 of us.
High five, though. High five.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't realize how proud I would be of that accomplishment until it happened. And I was like, it's a long time coming. And I was like, man, this is not easy. This is not easy.
It's a grind, man.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
People think that like there are some channels or videos that you'll see. It's like their first upload and they hit like 1 million in like a day.
I'm like, what is that?
And I'd be like, I've been working for 10 years for this, and I get like 1,000 views, and half the comments are like all bullshit. You know, like,
And I'm like, man,
Like-
I need to get into the makeup game.
That's it. If we were all like very attractive like people with like vans that all like
And there you go,
like,
Vans do it.
And
Van
then-
life.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We can
But
all
seriously,
quit.
what did I don't know. Someone in the comments just let me know what I did for Tinker Tuesday because I already forget.
You did like a pretty much your Tinker Tuesday was like more of like a Tinker Therapist Tuesday. Like
No,
it was just
no.
like a like
I don't think, man. I posted that video like this morning.
oh
Or
that was this
yesterday.
morning. Okay.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I don't know what I did for Tinker Tuesday. I'm like looking at all the bikes in here and I'm like, shit, what did I?
Did you delete the files already?
It's gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, it's
Oh
gone.
yeah. Yeah.
You can't even look at the computer to figure it out.
No, I would have to I'd have to look on my phone and it'd probably screw up the Wi-Fi here. So.
Yeah, go on YouTube. Yeah, don't do that.
No, please don't. Please don't use the internet right now.
You're already using up like half the bandwidth in Canada.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, yeah, if
Yeah.
anyone could just go check the channel and just see what I did for Tinker Tuesday.
yeah.
That's the channel update. I don't know what I did.
It's a very sly way to direct people to your channel.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
I see what you're doing.
The subtle plug.
That's the 25,000.
That's how you get there. Yeah.
That's tactics. Tactics.
Yeah.
Got to be tactical. All right. What happened on my channel? We had a busy week. So this past weekend, we went to ride Going the Sun Road in Glacier, which is this epic mountain climb. It almost feels like you're riding in the Swiss Alps. But this time of year, as they're plowing the road, they actually close it to car traffic on the weekend. So if you've ever wanted to ride a mountain pass without having to worry about cars, this was the perfect time to do it. We did that. We had a live stream with PNW Components, talked about their suspension dropper post, which is pretty cool. And today I put up another video talking about long versus short chainstay with the Otso Wahila. Pretty interesting bike because it has the kind of tuning chip, and you can flip it from 440, which is on the long end, and then 420, which is on the short end.
That's a big change. Looking at the photos of it, I was like, 5 mil, cool, whatever. That's huge. But,
it's like having two bikes. Like riding it in the short position, it reminded me of kind of like the Salsa War Road, so Road Plus road bike.
Mm-hmm.
And then the longer position felt like the War Bird, just a little bit more stable and relaxed.
And then that one, doesn't that clear like a 29 by like 2.3 or something big time? So that I'm assuming is in the longer position.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got a graph that shows tire compatibility in the long, middle, and short position. Oh, and Don reminded me, Laura did the video as well. She did a video on the women's version of Gravel Casual. She's actually going to be on the channel more. She's leaving her full-time job to join the world of YouTube to help me out with this channel, just because it's
so our condolences. All right.
Well, that's huge. Congrats. That's bigger than me getting to 25,000 and still hating my full-time job.
That's it. Okay, well, Russ, we can do an episode where me and Eric get the same Gravel Casual shorts that she recommends in that video.
I'd love to see that.
I'm in.
Yeah, these seem okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have.
So let's move on to this kind of new experimental section called, I don't know what it's called. It's not called the new because we're not talking about new stuff.
It's called Your Bike.
We're talking about your bikes.
Your bikes.
Your bikes. Okay, so we reached out to you guys on the gram, asked you to DM Alt Cycling and send us your bike pics.
Yeah.
And there were so many. There was actually about, I think, 30 to 40 responses.
Yeah, for sure. For like the day before, that was great.
No, like the day of this morning.
Yeah.
So let's see. So this is the first one. And I picked this one just because I like pink bikes. This one's kind of cool. It's got custom pink spokes, these super supple and big Terravale Cornados. I believe it's an Ogre. And I don't know if this was a stock color or if Flow Arena had it painted, but I think it looks dope.
I don't see any logos on there, so I'd assume that it's been painted.
Yeah, kind of interesting handlebar setup. So that looks like might be the Camp and Go Slow like rattlesnake handlebar tape, and it's got a bar end shifter
Whoa,
on the
crazy.
bullhorn part. Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Are those upside down? Because it looks like they're tilted up.
Yeah.
Or are they just still? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I like everything about those handlebars. They're
but
they're basically BMX bars. Like they're BMX bars like this. Like
look at that. yeah.
That actually no, I'm gonna use. But you know what? I coming from BMX and like my front wheel MX is like a blue hub with orange spokes. I find that everyone in the like elitist drop bar and even the camp and go slow world. No, I'm not. But I feel like everybody has been like afraid of loud wheels in the way of color, like and tires. There was a time where like cool colored tires and like cool colored spokes and stuff were pretty in. They disappeared. Everyone was like jet black everything. That's like I'm happy to see that kind of subside a little bit and just see like some like wildly fuchsia colored spokes.
Right.
I love this bike. This thing's crazy.
I think the colors are getting a little bit crazy again, which is kind of fun.
I love it. Like I can't wait for jerseys and stuff to get there.
Yeah, my cassette right now is like iridescent colored. It's dope. I love it.
Nice. So this one is from D. Henkin, and I'll read you guys what he wrote. He said, "It's my All City Log Lady, which is a single-speed rigid mountain bike. He bought the frame. He modded it with a 1x10 with the Problem Solver's derailleur hanger, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he's got the Bello Orange crazy bars. Tires are Gravel Kings. It's in his 650B road configuration. But it can also be a 27.5 XC mountain bike or track lacrosse fixed gear. But that's pretty dope. Do you have one of those, Eric? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
So if anyone is curious about what that is the Problem Solvers. So basically, I imagine there's a through axle version of this now, but this is it replaces the side of quick release. So you run your quick release through your wheel. It screws into here. This hole here is threaded, and then it just uses these set screws here to hold it on the dropout, and then boom, you've got yourself they call it a universal derailleur hanger, or something you're supposed to carry with you as a touring rider. In case you did rip your derailleur hanger off and you needed to get to like the next town or something to get a new one. And they're very upfront about like, you got to be careful because you might not get the full range because of course it does bring the derailleur hanger out by this amount. Right. But like when the shop that I worked at was closing and we didn't have any price tags on stuff, the deal was if something didn't have price tag on it, we were throwing it out, or Eric, you could take it. This was
a nice deal.
One of the things I was like, well, I'm gonna, so I took it.
Sweet. All right. So this next bike is from Spencer Gow. It says 2019 Norco Search XR Apex. Norco's Canadian, actually.
It is.
Like,
yep.
BC brand.
Yep.
And I thought one thing that was interesting about this was it was an Apex with a cage from a broken Eagle derailleur to fit the 11-50 Sunrace cassette. So there was some nice hackery going on here. And this is how he had it set up for his 19-hour, 16-minute, 361-kilometer ride of the Grand Nith Ramble route in Ontario last week to set the FKT with a homemade frame bag made out of old sails.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
So wait, what's the conversion, Eric? What is it? 300 and what kilometers?
I don't know. Like things in tens make sense to me. You guys talking like weird distances where you're like a mile is like 3 penny farthings.
Wait. But how many baby heads makes a mile?
No, don't. Even with that.
How many Kinderkoppens?
Kinderkoppens.
No.
Okay, this one is from Future is Ken, and this is All City Super Pro cadet for shreddy urban mini rando. If it's a thing,
it is a thing. Look, it's right here. I love it. I mean, obviously, I love this bike. That's the bike I would build.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The hot pink bags are dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
You know what? All it's missing is like a Spindat sticker, like somewhere.
Wait, the biggest vinyl decal. I like that. Like front rack rando bags look like soft shell coolers that my mom uses to go to the beach.
Yeah.
And just depending on where you place it in the world and what the logo is, like it could be cool.
Correct.
It might
That's
not
it.
be.
Yeah. That could, yeah. That could be full of wine coolers or something else. Yeah.
Okay, so this one from Fiat Jeep Driver. It's a custom DeSalvo XTR 11-speed shifter and derailleur XTR levers, Dura-Ace flat mount disc, all this good stuff. Ritchie Bullmoose bars, EE wing with Praxis 4832 and Philwood hub.
Oh my god, it has EE wing cranks on it.
I didn't know that. Damn.
Oh god,
Woo, boy, hot boy. This is that hot boy.
Boy, you
like,
better
flexing hard.
Yeah, to have the paint to match Philwood hubs and the Bullmoose bars, that's pretty dope.
You know what?
Like
as much as I love to just be like, you don't need anything expensive, like at all. Just preach ridiculous. It all the time. You know, it is cool.
This is what you like to call the FU money.
Yeah.
When you like, you know what I mean? Like you're like,
what?
oh, do you need EE cranks? No. But when you do, and like what no one's gonna like while you're pedaling those cranks, no one's gonna notice. But at the coffee shop with the one guy in like the 40 that are gonna go by, the one guy's like, damn, like like that's it. That makes it all worth it. The $1,200 that you just
So I guess my question, like for the content that I like to make and the stuff that you guys are kind of getting into as we're making this alternative cycling network, content. Why does he watch our content?
But you know what? Wait, maybe he can sponsor us. Maybe. Like apparently he's got enough money floating around.
That is wild.
Yeah, that thing is awesome.
I love this bike. It's very
good.
It's 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, I want to see the other bikes that you own. If any.
If this is the only bike, that's more flex.
You sent in 2 bikes. This is the one I chose. The other one was pretty baller too, but I just love the Bullmoose bars on this one.
And the fact that their color matches is just crazy.
Yeah, if you guys think about it, there isn't really another forum for like nice kind of builds that aren't road bikes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
true.
Like this would never show up on that other cycling network.
The mountain bike one. The mountain bike one.
No, the yoga one. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is from Pocket Brooks. It's a Thai motor bacon Sentry made by ORA, builder of Salsa Thai frames. Surly Midnight Special Fork, Tumbleweed T-Rack, the Wintech GT brake, Swift bag, Salsa cow chipper. These are all the magic words. PDW pizza handlebar tape and time attack.
Yep.
Now
the biggest thing that upsets me is that he was able to get his Ultegra R8000 cranks on his bike and I wasn't.
That's
so
like flex.
Immediately don't like this bike because it works with its expensive cranks and mine are still sitting on my shelf.
So this is like SEO gold. Like what this is this bike.
Yeah, like, you're typing it in, you're like, I need people to come here.
Titanium, Salsa, rack mounted, gravel bike, supple life, like the whole bit, like it's this thing. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, I get lots of questions about the motor bacon, and you can buy them direct. I don't know if they're available these days, but have you guys had any experience with like bikes direct bikes?
No, but I want to.
Yeah, same. Yeah, if he or she is watching, I've emailed you once. But yeah, no, I think there is some overlap like this bike. Like there is a lot of like cross development as far as like factory goes. To where like I'd honestly be interested. There's always, in my opinion, there's always a few things that are always funky on those bikes.
Mm-hmm. Like
it's usually the handlebar. I don't know why, but for like a drop bar bike, they're always like crazy old school like reach or like it's got the old like weird ergo
Yeah, they're like
drop.
There are 13 bends on the drop.
Yes,
box,
exactly.
right?
So that's I mean, like it's all spec'd well, but then it's just like you get this weird, funky like handlebar and like brake set. There's always compromises no matter what you're gonna get. But I think there's a validity to it. But I think that there needs to be the us in the world being like, hey, look, like there are some pros and cons to consumer direct. Right. But like these are the, I mean, he's been or she's been doing the volume of this for the longest, essentially, before Canyon and everybody else. You know,
yeah, I bet you they're doing pretty well these days.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I the one bike I really wanted to get from them was they had I think it was Kestrel. They had a gravel bike. It cleared a 2.1 650B. It was Force 1 by, and I want to say they sold it under like $1,800.
Oh dang!
Carbon frame, like it was a super cool bike. It would have been a great platform, but it sold so well. They still have or did have a GRX 2 by build that I wasn't really apt for at the time. But like, but again, it was just a, they were going under Fuji and all the whole bit, so they just bought them out, and then now Bomb Track like sells that bike. So yeah.
Okay, so this one is from I actually know this guy. He's in Portland. Our friend Jeremy Sadler, and it's a Breezer Doppler.
Those are cool.
Has had it built in different ways, and what drew me to this was this guy. This is like the OG dropper post. I think it's like spring tension.
The binder clip
that would pop it back up. But I'm my curiousness is no, I'm not worried about the setback. I'm curious about actuation. How do you loosen where the seat post is? Like, what is the lever? Like, do you have to reach down and loosen that to allow the dropper to come down? Like, what is it? You say his name's Jeremy. Jeremy, are you watching? Can you tell me? Call me. 902.
Do you just pull the binder clip out and then it drops? Like what do
you do? Right?
Yeah. Like I'm very confused.
Like I know that these exist. I don't understand how it works.
Yeah, I've seen Ultra Romance has one of those on his Rivendell, and I've been curious now that I've been kind of getting into dropper posts, but would be fun to get a hold of one and try it out compared to modern posts. Yeah, that'd be some good video, good internets. Okay, we got 2 more.
You gotta love a good box on a bike, right?
This one's mostly box.
Yeah, this is mostly box.
Do we know what's in the box or what? Like how? Like what?
What is that whole thing? I don't know.
Yeah, it looks easily 6 pizzas.
Yeah.
This one is Sasha from Berlin, Germany, and it's a mountain bike. He's converted 650B, and clearly the widest bars he could possibly fit on.
I hope he either comments or she comments on this video or at least the next one. But like those have to be the Curve 52s. If not, they're the Ride Far 62s or whatever they have now. Like that looks like I wish we could do like the full Criminal Minds enhanced thing, and we could figure out what's in the box.
What's in the box?
I don't even know.
I bet it's bratwurst sausages.
Yeah,
it's just a guess.
Okay, so let's see here. What do we have? I gotta shrink this. This one less weird, but I thought interesting. This is from Curious About Bison. It is a 1985 Raleigh Portage, produced in relatively small numbers, only from 84 to 86. It's rare, not super valuable, but it was sold as the Raleigh top-line touring bike, and it was likely the first mass-produced bike in the American market designed around 650B.
Oh, so weird.
That's why I chose this one.
Oh, sorry.
And Canty 650? Hell yeah.
Yeah. And he also said it came with the first Dior kind of components, so the old deer head insignia on these. And the last one is this one. It's a Peugeot Canyon Express from the 80s. Original bike cost only 35 pounds. running 11-speed Campag shifters with retro 9-speed XT group set on the 2x10. So a lot of debauchery
Hackery.
going on back there. Yeah.
A lot of spin datness going on.
What chainring is that? Is that like a homemade drilled out chain? What is that chain guard?
I think it's a chain
No,
guard.
that's a bash guard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh wow. Yeah, you're getting rad if you got a bash guard on that bike. Hell yeah.
So he's got the
Cool.
very chubby Renaeus Rat Trap Press extra lights that make the bike ultra supple. And
Oh my God.
on the front, this is why I chose this one. It's got the Cinelli, what are these called? The Spinachis.
The Spindaddies.
Yeah. The Spindaddies.
Spin daddies. The spin yaddies. Yeah.
Right. This is a prototype product from Eric.
Yeah. They'll be on his Shopify next
Shopify
month.
store,
Yeah.
Right.
You can pre-order. You might never
Yeah.
get them.
Yeah.
Kickstarter campaign.
It's on Kickstarter, yeah. But like the thumb space, that's what. Okay, so Russ, scroll. If you go right there to the shifter, like it looks like his thumb between that bar and his shifter hood.
No,
like,
that's just perspective. There's
Okay.
definitely way more room.
all right. Well,
Yeah.
let's hope. Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
that's what I would say on my YouTube video. That was like when I built it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It's just perspective.
Yeah. Trust me.
So it's got a decaler rack here for random bag. So interesting build.
Oh, and
So,
that bell setup on that's like a beach cruiser
Yeah.
bell, like Sugar Candy or whatever that brand is. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So well done, people of the
Yeah,
internet.
for sure.
You had
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
did
me-
good.
proud. Yeah.
Yeah, you did good.
You're all winners. I mean,
Yeah.
and yeah, we don't have anything to give you yet. Sorry. But one day.
Well, Shram is sponsoring the video. So,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You all get SRAM hats. It's
They
just
weirdly
yeah.
sent me a SRAM hat. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the new you. Geez, we're like already halfway through. We barely started. All right. So a couple of interesting drops. No really roadie releases, but I think within our genre, I thought this fell in it. The Surly Long Haul Trucker, kind of the venerable touring bike, has been around for ages. They've done some revamps. There's a video there you can watch. Most notably, it's got 3-pack mounts.
Mhm.
They've shortened the chainstay. It used to be 460, so pretty long, and now it's a super tucked 450.
Right.
Game changer. Game changer.
Right. Yeah. So and it's
No,
rocking up.
it's
Oh, it's got the specialized bars on there.
Man.
How do they get away with that?
No, this is her own thing. I think this is her
okay,
Yeah,
own
I'm
thing.
okay,
sure
wait.
it is.
Okay, wait. Hey, Eric, let's do this live. Okay, so Russ, can you open another tab with the specialized hover bar?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, because this would be
Because
great. We're
we're-
we're doing it live, and I want to see your actual reaction.
This-
Specialized hover bar.
Hover
Russ goes, no,
bar.
this is their own thing. Like,
Well, I mean, they're not using it. By that, I mean they're not using a specialized bar, but it's
yeah, it's theirs. It certainly is more aggressive than the specialized bar. I'll say.
Yes.
that.
No, it's a little bit higher rise, but yeah, it's essentially like very similar. They even have a flared version of this now.
of the specialized bar.
Yep,
Oh,
totally. Yeah.
This one comes in carbon. You can get a.
Well,
you can get
but
a
you
carbon
can't.
can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Surly's is stainless steel, but yeah, you can get a carbon fiber one. Yes.
Yeah. What else? So one thing, in the words here, they've increased the head tube just because they find a lot of people just put a ton of spacers. So trying to reduce that, bring it up. I know. Eric's crying inside.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You just heard the like, just,
no.
oh, yeah.
And they've got what else they have? They got spoke holders, all that good stuff, like right there. So if you break a spoke, one thing that they're doing too, they explain it in the video, but the way the through axles work is like one side is threaded and the other is not.
Right.
With
It's
the-
slotted.
It's slotted. So with the idea that you can kind of undo the through axle and slip it out rather than having, or partially slip it out and drop the wheel rather than having to remove it completely.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah,
Mavic was
I
trying to do that.
Yeah, they call it the speed release or something, like that. That I actually really like. My buddy Mario, who is in the chat, he's got a midnight special with the Russ. You saw those, like the weird, like it's a through axle, but it's a quick release whole setup. This is way better than that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of into this. I'd love to try it out in person. It's got all the adventure nipples that one could want.
Full nips.
There they are. You know,
3x9.
I can't believe we're allowed to show this on YouTube.
We're gonna get demonetized if keep going. Russ, you can't show that much, Russ. Come on.
We can show J-Pow!
Hey.
Okay, so 3x9 range with 3x9. So
they still make those cranks?
I know.
Who makes seriously, who makes that crank now?
They're the only ones you can get. Everything else is sold out.
Yeah.
So interesting bike. Have you guys ridden any of the long haul truckers?
No.
No. I was a bike mechanic for 3 years, which is weird that I never owned a Surly, because only really like bike shop mechanics are the only ones who buy Surleys.
Totally. It's very true.
But no, I never did. I've never ridden one.
I've ridden my bucks, but his was the Canty version from like forever ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, the mechanic.
He also had a Surly cargo bike. Let's just put it there. Yeah, that he rode to San Francisco from Orange County. No big deal. Like that was in like SPD sandals. That's we had
nice.
Yeah,
we rode the long haul trucker for a number of years, 3 years, like the very first iterations. It had candies and everything, and it had a long ass chainstay. Like it felt loaded even when you weren't loaded. So I mean this is still like relatively long compared to modern standards, but I can see that they're trying to make it a little bit more of an all-rounder, even though it's still definitely on the long side.
So Russ, what size like wheel setup would you run for that?
So this is multi-wheel size, and they do 700 in the larger sizes, and I think at 52 they do 26-inch. So when I had it, I was actually on the 26-inch version, just because that's the one that fit me. Small bikes.
So you found they had rim brake, 26-inch rims, and then what size tire would you run on that?
Like two ones. So it had lots of clearance. You know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's in some ways a proto gravel bike, but you could certainly use it for that.
And they still offer it that way. It's a 26 or a 700 still, just the tire clearance increased.
Yeah. So speaking of supple,
so wow, look at that. Look at us. I know. This is great.
Wolf Tooth, knower of building things out of aluminum and steel, has gotten into the supple bar tape game.
Right. Hey, this is CNC bar tape, okay? All right, that's how they manufacture this. They took regular bar tape and they CNC'd it down to 5 millimeters by 40.
You can also use it to run the larger cassette on your rear derailleur. So I sold them the rights to supple. That's why Laura's quitting her job.
Oh, there it is. So we are sponsored. Eric, we're getting some effing money over it.
Finally.
No, this surprised me. So I've actually had a chance to use this tape. They put it on their Otso Wahila that I'm going to post the review for next week. And I think it's pretty supple tape. I mean, it is chunky. It's like 100% silicone, but it feels like those ESI mountain bike grips, but just in tape.
Yeah, I actually love the way those feel.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think this is great, honestly, because like I've been the guy that's run the Physique like bar gels like on my gravel bikes. Like so you run those and they're really expensive. And I'm gonna make a video. I found there's a cheap alternative to those, but I'll run that with like a 2.5 mil or 3 mil tape. But this to not have to faff with those to like wrap them up because they always move and all this stuff. Like I'd much rather just like do this. Also, the fact that it's longer, because there's been times when I've bought in tape that just like in a 46 bar, you really have to wrap that thing like precise to like get it to be long enough.
Yeah.
And be long enough. And so there's always areas for me, like I ride in the drops quite a bit, but I always wrap a little bit extra around like right past the shifters. This is where your hands are at most of the time.
Yep,
so you can't do that anymore when you're trying to stretch bar tape out. So to not have to mess with a bar gel and get essentially the same thickness would be dope. So I think this is going to do well, and I think it makes sense. It's a little funny because you're just like, like everyone's like, gravel attire. It's just mountain bike stuff that's like a little more fitted. But this totally makes sense. Like it's just like, and for me, a guy who's like riding Redshift stems and stuff, like I still want it. But guys who are riding rigid, this has got to be awesome.
Yeah.
Basically for Eric. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at, like,
but I'm surprised that Wolf Tooth is the company doing it. Like, I don't know.
I know that Silka came out with a tape, which supposedly uses the same kind of science foam that Nike uses. So it's got low hysteresis or something. And I had that on the Crest for a while, and it felt comfy. I mean, this one is like noticeably like super plush. I mean, part of it is the thickness, I think.
Because the other one,
it's massive.
I see that because like there's one other, I don't know what they used for it, but it was a Fox, I believe it was their Ranger glove that I sold a ton of. It was a mountain glove, but the knuckle guard for it was like a gel. So when you just like squeeze it like kind of softly, like it felt kind of just plush, but you could like punch like something.
And it would get hard.
It would firm up. And I'm just like, this is genius. Like, you put this in bar tape. Like, like it's it was the same kind of mantra to me with the Silka stuff and what they use compared to this. This is just like thick and a little bit more dense to add some impact resistance. But the Silka stuff was like a little more tech, I think, into it than this is.
Yeah. So the Silka, I remember what he was talking about was like when you compress something, there's a spring rate. Right. And if you're doing a lot of high frequency vibrations, ultimately it doesn't spring back fast enough. Yeah. And that was supposedly what was unique about their stuff, that it had low hysteresis that would respond, so it would still give you kind of
so in the mountain bike world, this is called rebound. And what you're looking for is enough rebound after each hit,
right,
that you can go back to that in your compression. You can go back to that. And if there's not enough rebound, then you're constantly at the low level of whatever your suspension is.
Yeah. Yeah. So who knew? So much
there you go.
But you know what? Wolf Tooth has like really cool solutions for a lot of stuff.
They do.
They're almost like the cooler problem solvers.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So is there any other anything else? Any other new? I know.
This is like kind of the old new, but I think we could throw this in here before we go into our next segment, which is the screenshot. Yes. Look at us. Look at us. All right. Well, this was something that I sent our group chat for everyone who's watching this, because if anybody's been a keen watcher of all the ACN channel or when we've done this, this is GCN talking about the Sun Tour fork. I think it was at least 2 weeks after we had announced it. I say announced very loosely because we saw from other channels, but other avenues. But the fact that we mentioned it to the community as a whole weeks before the global cycling network did. I'm just saying, subtle flex. We're here for the people. Okay,
we've got our finger on the pulse.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like they may or may not have the actual product we're talking about and get able to ride it.
We talked
about it first. That's something. That's something for somebody somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don's always hard in the comments. Movers and shakers, love it.
Yeah. I bet you J-Pal talks about some supple bar tape next week or something.
Oh no, not next week, Russ.
2 weeks.
3 weeks from now.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. So I guess we should talk about what we were supposed to talk about. But before we talk about that, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, give it a thumbs up. All that good stuff helps spread the video far and wide, so we can start making some of that alternative cycling network money one day.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Sell out. Wait, what?
Oh no, we sold out of the state bike. I mean, that was us.
That's true.
Come on.
So there's this dumb sponsored video that wants to play, but hopefully I can make it. Okay.
Yeah,
So the new toilet paper bikes are flying off the shelves, overwhelming shops, all across the nation, beyond just towns that are bike friendly, like Portland and other places that are like Portland.
Is that the only one?
It's the only one I can think of.
Like
Really? Wow. That's
Oh no, New York and DC. I can read.
okay. There you go. There you go.
They're thriving whether they're in car-dominated cities like Houston, Los Angeles, or even more traditional bike areas like Portland. Customers are being turned away in some cases because too many bikes or not enough bikes are going out the door. So I like this. We're usually a pretty slow and chill shop. Now the phone doesn't stop ringing. My guys get overwhelmed. I totally get it. So bikes are flying out the door. And yeah, so some in the article, some people still a little bit skeptical as to how long this bike boom will last. Some say once traffic is back to its normal levels, people will lose their interest in riding. But there's this big opportunity to keep at least retain some of those riders. Koopman here in the last quote. That's the big question. Is this a one-time thing or is it something sustainable? Also, in related news, I saw this on the Twitter. I think you guys saw it too. But Shimano, one of the biggest component manufacturers in the world, is running out of parts, or they're starting to ration their parts for OEM bikes only.
Yeah.
So it's getting more and more difficult as a consumer just to buy parts.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
it totally is, and I experienced that months ago. Like when I was trying to put that Ultegra group set on the Poseidon, like just that shouldered nut that I just having not moved from a whole lot of Shimano parts before, and noticing that it's like, okay, the higher end stuff uses this weird shouldered nut. Oh, it didn't come with it. Okay, I'll go buy them. And you can look up that part number. You can look up that part number pretty easy. It's only $5, and I would be like kind of embarrassed to say how much I actually spent to get to my house, so I won't say it. But like that's
I'm surprised you didn't just like cut up a chair.
Well, I thought about it. I thought about just putting a bunch of.
But this video is
around.
this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends because Eric needs his money for his shoulder nuts. Like,
I already have them, so
yeah.
And then actually, like a lot of people, shortly after were like, "Well, where did you get those?" Because they're like hen's teeth, and I'm like, I got them, and I'd like send them the link, and they're like, "Oh, $100," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh, there's the answer right there.
Like, anyway, the bike works pretty good now.
So I wonder if there's gonna be like this underground like black market for nice components.
Totally,
yeah.
Absolutely, there will. Like, well, just think about what I just said. I bought a $5 part for, I think 100's a little much, but like after shipping and everything, I think I was flirting with it with $100 to get two of them to me.
So Eric's gonna open up his shed as a Etsy store, and everything is $1,000. Yeah.
Everything is $1,000. I would lose money.
No, not your bikes, your parts. Your parts. Come on, Eric. Come on. I'm trying to help you out here. Not your bikes. Damn.
Oh, but I love hoarding so much.
Well,
the shed is so full.
There's a show about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like when COVID started to get serious, we were down in Tucson, Arizona. This was about mid-March, and after
Eric the hoarder.
after we tried to buy toilet paper, we were unsuccessful. The second place I went to was the local bike shop, and I bought chains for all our bikes. I bought lube, replacement disc brakes, cables. What else I get? All sorts of consumables. And I remember checking out, and the guy at the bike shop looked at me like like I was like some kind of asshole. And I was like, well, it's going to happen, man. There's going to be, you're not going to feel it now, but, supply chain issues or whatever, we don't know what's going to happen. And I want to be able to ride all my bikes this summer. So actually, I don't feel bad stocking up now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, even the local shop, like one of the closest shop to me, I mean, they for a bit, they were not even answering the phone. Like it would go straight to voicemail. Like I just had to show up, and and then eventually, there's a very few things I can't do myself. Either don't have the parts for, or like then when all this happened, I was like, okay, well, I never bled brakes because I only have to do that like X amount of once a year, if that. So it's like not worth buying the kit. And then I was like, okay, well, I need to bleed brakes. And they're like, oh, we're 2 weeks out. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just buy the bleed kit. Like, it's worth the price convenience. And then no one has the bleed kit. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll drop it off. And then next thing I know, like the week after, I'm like, hey, like it needs a little bit of adjustment because they said like, oh, well, we just bled it, but it's not 100%. I was like, all right. And so, yeah. And then then I went back in. They're like, oh yeah, we're only taking services that can take under 10 minutes.
Oh, dang.
And I was like, so you're just doing tube changes? Like what? Like what do you what? And it's like a high-end specialized shop. Won't name the name, but it's just like, yeah. I was like, I get it because they were, I mean, bombarded with stuff. So my bike was on the floor on the 4th rack up, like because they were so stocked in the back with their 3 mechanics in huge area that mine was on the showroom floor on like they had to have like a cherry picker go get it. Like that was essentially what they had to go get. Like it was just, I was like, come on, are you serious? And I was like, I know my bike's nice, but like, you can put it in the back. It's fine. But like, that was it. Like, it was crazy. And even now it's like, I've called around, like I said, for basic service. And like I said, it's basic things, but it's just stuff that I can't do myself. And mainly it's just any hydraulic fluid type stuff. Because I can't order a kit. I can't even learn. I've learned how to do it on YouTube like 8 times, but I can't physically learning. I can't physically do it with like I can't do it with like a turkey baster and a hose, it's like, so I'm stuck, that's where
some baby oil.
Yeah, and some baby oil. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy times. I have to say that's one reason I'm very glad that all my personal bikes are cable brakes because it's a lot easier to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting times. Like I've noticed from the bike YouTuber perspective that other channels are starting to clue in on this and are starting to do more beginner kind of basic content. Do you guys, what do you guys think? Do you guys have any plans to do that kind of stuff?
I think that for me, it's like, I think we could all discuss it here, but I think for me and my channel, like mine really started with like fix your stuff. And I really started that because I didn't have the money and I didn't have the know-how. And I honestly started my channel because I was just sick and tired of watching 30 minutes of some dude telling me how to put my pedals on. I was just like, come on, dude. Like there's 30 seconds of this whole video that I need to learn. That's why I started making YouTube videos. And that's why my whole channel literally started because of the necessity for that. Because I started before the partner program was even out. So like it's not like you're making money. It's just some old dude with his DV cam. And he would talk to the camera for like 40 minutes about like, well, back in my day, like I used motor oil grease, but now they use this new Teflon stuff. And then, you could take a crescent wrench, but if you grind it down halfway, you could slip it in there. But what I'm going to use today is a correct tool, which is called a pedal wrench. Like, and I'm just like, dude, I don't give a shit. Like, I just want to know how to put my pedals on the right way. Like, that was it. Right. So that's literally why I started my YouTube channel. It was just like, I can do this. And I know my basic stuff to start. and how to effectively show you that in 5 minutes, ideally 1 minute or less. And that was it. But I think now with this whole resurgence of people getting into cycling, I think basic maintenance is something that is very important to learn. And with the whole COVID thing, like, granted, yeah, we can't culminate and go to a bike shop and learn about it all together. So I see the validity to educating at that point. I think there's a lot of great facets of learning that, as well as the videos that are out from like Phil or anybody else of like, hey, cyclists, like, don't be an asshole. Be nice to all the new riders. Like, I get that too. Like, there's so many things for both sides of the new riders, either people receiving them, people riding alongside them, or just the new riders like, I don't know what to do. Like, I just got a bike because it was the only bike in the bike shop that fit me. Like, I'm going to take it. You know, what do I do now?
Yeah, I know that we did a whole series on cycling clothing just to give you riders an option. Yeah, because I think it's a pretty steep ask to be, you know, you're typically in your day to day wearing civilian clothing, and then someone tells you have to wear the stretchy pants, like just like that. Yeah. So giving people, you know, okay, this is like the middle ground option. You know, if you want to do that eventually, this is a great place or a great way to kind of invest small money and see if it works for you. So that's one of the strategies I'm going to try to do on the channel. I'm going to do one on Tubeless at home. Yeah. Speaking of turkey basters.
Honestly, that's hey, don't steal that shit. That's my greatest hack. Okay. I went to the 99-cent store, got a turkey baster, and I was like, this is the greatest tubeless applicator that I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. How about you, Eric? All your videos are hacky stuff.
Yeah, I guess there's I'm mostly just a YouTube hack in general.
He hacked his way to 25,000. Here we go.
You're right, I did. From start to now, and probably to the next 25.
How many rolls of duct tape later? Yeah, exactly.
Just the one, actually. When you cut it in half, all good. No, I don't want to. I have always said, and I will maintain my position on never specifically going out of my way to teach anyone anything.
Good.
I hate that content. I hate making it. I remember doing a couple of videos when I was like first starting, and like I understand that someone's gonna go search for it. But like I feel a level of guilt that I don't like when I hit upload, when I write how to, and then I make a vlog, because I know how much I hate that. When like I'm like how to make your GoPro footage better, and then it's like some guy who's like, hey guys, I'm like, oh god, like I just want some same as what you said, Mike. Like if I wanted to go watch someone how to put pedals on, I want a 30-second clip of that. I'm like, okay,
like, righty tighty, lefty loosey, this goes this way, this goes this way, end card, like done. That's what I want, right? I'll subscribe to that shit.
I won't. That's the thing, is I won't. And that was my thought, where I was like, okay, I won't subscribe to someone who has taught me so quickly that I need. And to be honest with you, I don't care who they are. Like if someone says, here's how you put your pedal on, I go, thanks, man, see ya. And I don't ever like. And I learned probably after like 2 years that it was like, okay, like I want to make content that I enjoy making. I don't like teaching anyone anything. I'm self-conscious of it anyway. But I do like to tell stories. And I do like when people are like, hey, everything you've done is super cool. I want to do that too. I went and figured it out. And I'm like, yeah, go watch that guy who made the pedal video for 30 seconds and come back and tell me about it. Yeah. Because like, you don't care about him. You don't care about her who made a how-to video, and no one does. They are good. They're good for bringing, like, they're good for traffic on that one video, but I don't think they have the level of like subscribership that you would maybe want.
I think we're all old enough in this to where, like, I mean, I've done it. A couple of my top videos are how-tos,
Sure.
And there's one that I want to take down because now I have I'm a certified body geometry like bike fitter that I want to take down.
Is it the STEM video? Yeah.
But you know what?
Like
to be honest, I knew it. Like to be honest, it's not wrong. It ballparks you very well. It totally works. Because I thought about it the other day. I got some like boo-boo comment on there, and I was on my bike, which I'm perfectly fitted on. I am comfortable as hell on this thing. It's my custom steel bike. It's the perfect bike for me. I grabbed the drops and I was like, you know what? I looked down. I was like, that hub is perfectly hidden behind the stem. And I was like, God, it totally works. And so it's like it is like total crap most of the time, but like it ballparks. And again, it's from, and a lot of people, the best part that I love is like when it's like from 2013 and people are complaining. I'm like, that was 7 years ago. If I did a car review of your your 03 Corolla and you're watching it in 2020, like, yes, there are 4 new generations of car at this point. Like, yes, things are going to get better. That was me a long time ago telling you maybe how to do that. But people were like, oh, this is total BS. Like, you can't do that. I'm like, dude, you know what? If you don't know how the hell to set up your bike and your seat's probably too low or whatever, like this will get you at least kind of close. Yeah. That's it. That's all I'm going. I'm going for ballpark at best.
Honestly, I think it's funny that I knew that it was that video. Because I remember watching it and being like, that seems a little generic. And then like going and reading the comments and being like, man, they're tearing this guy up. I watched it forever ago. Yeah. And I think that might be the reason why I was like, I'm never doing how-to videos.
No, probably don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Yeah. It's not worth it at all. No.
An emotional cost.
Yes. My soul died a lot for that. Yeah. I made $100 in 7 years. but like, oof. Like the therapy bill though. Yeah.
I kind of like. So I'm gonna disagree because insofar as I do like making educational content, but not kind of the typical how-tos. Like I'll do something on like how to carry your fly rod on the bike. So it's
like that's cool.
Educational in that way, but it's not the typical stuff. Where I'll try to find like some sideways angle into teaching people things just to make it interesting.
Okay. I guess. So I would agree with that. I think if you watch my content, there are times where I will bring things up, but it's usually like this very small portion.
Right.
Like I remember a lot of people didn't know that like when you put a Shimano crank on when you're using a Holotech style crank, that doesn't have anything to deal with bearing preload. I was like, this is only supposed to go on like finger tight. Mm-hmm. Like all this does is hold the crank in place.
Yeah.
And then you tighten down to 12 to 14 Newton meters on the pinch bolts, equally on either side. And everyone's like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that." Like, how come you don't do more? Like, how come you don't do more of this stuff? I'm like, well, if you watch all of my videos, there is something like that once a week.
Yeah.
But I would never title a video that because it's like,
right.
For that 12-second clip. I want to be running around and doing other stuff. I
also feel like it's a slippery slope. Once you do one, then someone asks you to do a variation of that or some other trying to solve their personal problem, and it's like, man, I don't have enough time to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or I'll get something like, oh, can you do this hack on? Like I did my my mullet like breakdown of like here's all the parts list and here's the cost to do this with SRAM. There's somebody was like, oh, can you do this with Jira X setup? Yeah, if you send it to me, I'm not making like I can't just afford another group set right now. But I commented back to him and he like was on the chat too. I was like, dude, they do this. Like here's a link. And he's like, oh, you made my day. I'm like, thanks, dude, because you just saved me $1,000. Like I can't do that. Like I can't help you out, but here's a link. Like I don't know what else to do. But I think it's fun for those moments. It really is for the not the how-tos, but just explaining things.
Yeah.
Like I did a video that was like, do all China cycling kits suck? And I did my explanations, like buy good shorts or bibs, and then that's kind of it. Like just buy whatever else at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like buy a good quality bib short from a reputable brand, and you'll be dividends for it. And then get the cheapy t-shirt or Hawaiian shirt, or get the jersey from Amazon. Like I've ridden them all. Like they're not bad, but the shorts are really where you feel it. So like that's it. And like shoes and a helmet. Like you obviously want a self helmet. You don't want to get the AliExpress helmet that you can saw in half in like 3 seconds. Like you don't want that. But like
right.
There's certain things that's all explained in the video. Is just like as a title of like someone will hopefully watch this. They got a decent amount of views. I was just like, look, buy good quality this, and that. Save money here and here, because cycling is expensive and it sucks because of that. Like, but you can lower the cost of entry buying the right way, you know?
Right. So speaking of buying the right way, and our topic, if someone wants to buy a bike, but since there is kind of such a shortage, like where does one do it? I mean, if like all the department stores are sold out, bike shops are sold out. I mean, Craigslist.
Eric, you're different because you're in Canada. So what's the Canada? What's the
all
Canada
the bikes
version?
are in Canada? So just
yeah. You know what? I'm actually because we've talked about this probably twice now on our live stream. It seems like the marketplaces here have really started to see a lot more people for sale, because they're like, oh well, this very small micro YouTube channel is saying that now is a good time to sell. So I'm seeing a lot of road bikes pop up because people are like, okay, it's time to get rid of this road bike because I want something else.
Right.
So like, of course, Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, there is places to get bikes, and like I said, maybe last week, you want to be a little bit careful. But like most bikes, even at their worst, will still ride. Like you can still ride them. I guess my biggest thing would be, just be careful that you're not paying, there's a lot of people right now who are going to take their old department store bikes or even their old bike shop bikes that they bought maybe 3 or 4, 5 years ago and try and get what they paid for it again.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't work like that. Like this like now it might. Like I've sold 3 bikes on Craigslist, and typically you guys know how it goes. Like someone emails you 5 times, asks all these questions, they show up, they lift up the bike, and they walk away. Like each time, like no one lowballed me. They gave me exactly what I asked for. I should ask for more actually, and it was just an easy transaction. So.
Yeah, it really depends. So for me, like I sold a lot on Craigslist in like when I first started my channel. But it's mainly if you're going to go buy a bike, you got to do a little bit of research. So look at the bike that you're buying. I'm not a big fan of like the bike Kelly Blue Book essentially, or like the bicycle Blue Book. I think those prices are not anywhere near what the bike's actually worth. But it'll give you a guideline as far as like what parts of the bike look like stock. That's what I go for. If you can at least read brand names and certain things on the bike, you're going to know like, okay, well, these things aren't the same. Print that thing out. Bring a piece of paper with you. Hey, why is this crankset different? Why is the wheel? Why are the wheels different? Those are all going to be ammunition for you to buy the bike correctly and save money if you need to. And then if they don't have any kind of like receipts or service, there we go, or Pro Closet.
You guys ever purchased anything from this site? I've been like super curious because
Pro Closet, I know the guys from there. They're good dudes. They actually will help out bike shops too. If you can't sell anything from a shop, you can like sell it to them and they'll work a deal out with you. It's super cool.
Oh, look at this one. This one should have been on the channel.
Oh man,
the bars. So what's the deal with this? So they buy pre-owned and then they have their mechanics work on it. So when you buy it, you've got the confidence that it's not just going to fall apart on you.
It's like certified pre-owned from like Mercedes or Lexus or whoever. Like it's like somebody's going to look at it. Someone's going to replace the brake pads. if the chain's worn, they're going to replace it. They're going to go through all the typical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that bike should be tuned, ready to rock like it would a new bike, but you're saving money on that it's not a new bike.
Right. I'm kind of curious
but Pro Closet, what's up? You know, like this. So, but yeah, no, they have some cool stuff. They do nice stuff. So like,
yeah, okay.
The prosumer, like you can get a nice bike from there at a decent discount without having to worry about the for someone who's not as mechanically inclined or someone who doesn't know the ins and outs of certain, you know, group sets or what. Hey, there you go. There's a slate.
I like that. How much do they want for that?
How much do they want for that, Russ?
Yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Is that Canadian or is that US? Oh, that's US? Oh, no way.
Let's see if we can find Eric a hover bar.
Oh, yeah. They got a Canyon Grail over in there. Yeah.
They've got a Greville. Oh, wow. These are. I wonder if Pinarello just dumped these, or if these.
They could. No, that's the thing. Is like they really, honestly, like you have to think of Pro Closet kind of like a.
It can be a reseller,
different versions of it. It's not like a Jensen, because Jensen will literally buy when Performance went out of stock or went bankrupt. They literally bought all the new old stock stuff. They literally just like, oh, you have a ton of Toe Peak or whatever it is. They just bought everything for pennies on the dollar and then resold it. So Pro Closet's a little different from what I've gathered from like knowing about them, to where like literally independent shops can be like, hey, do you want to buy our bikes? You know, that are new on the floor, and like they'll give you, especially if you're going out of business or you just can't sell something or whatever, they might give you a few bucks for it and not have to hassle with it.
Yep.
Here you go.
You know, there you go. There's a freaking Moots. $7,000. Oh man. All right.
So I was going to buy that bike, but I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
But then he realized it was US money, not Canadian.
Yeah.
And then he was like,
I was like, oh, it's $10,000. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it seems as if Pros Closet, a good resource, but not cheap.
Yeah.
There are good deals on it, but I imagine they'll disappear quick. Like,
yeah,
right.
And you're getting one size. You got to search your size bike. So it's like anything else. You buy a car on Craigslist versus a certified pre-owned dealer. You're gonna pay more for the certified pre-owned. That's kind of like where this sits.
Got another one.
How much they want?
First one.
Still 23.
24.
That's like $6 billion Canadian.
Yeah.
So interesting options, or you know, like I think we talked about this earlier, was that you could just work on the bike you have, try to make it better if you have a bike.
Yeah,
if you can find the parts, don't try to get the part that Eric tried to get.
Yeah, definitely don't.
Yeah. No, I mean,
or if you do, Eric has one, and he'll sell it to you.
No, I don't have one, and I can't sell you one. I used it
for a fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you have a good I tell everybody when they buy a new bike, like buy a good foundation. That's like a house. It's like if you have a good bike that's worth putting money into, do it. But it just really depends on kind of what you're working with. But yeah, I think upgrading can be worthwhile, especially now where that's a little easier to buy a new group set than it is like anything else, or new wheels or something. Yeah.
I don't think there'll ever be a shortage of wheels. Like wheels are fairly, high stock. Like as long as you're not like, well, I need it to specifically be a brand, like which I don't think, even me, I wouldn't be stuck on
one dumb year of Specialized 135 through axle. I think you're good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But like I think I always like to say it was always the newer riders that came in and heeded advice from other bike shops that I always enjoyed their stories the most. Like, and one thing that stuck with me was this girl who toured on a, those like beach cruiser style bikes, but they do have gears.
Right.
A comfort bike.
A comfort bike.
Yeah.
That some people call them like cafe, cafe
racer.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
no.
Russ.
that's a class of bike that's been used.
Motorbike, yeah.
Isn't it?
Motorbike, but not. Anyway, remember this girl came into the shop. She needed air or something, and I was like, yeah, no problem. And she had like panniers on it, and she's like, I just rode here from Quebec, which is like, it would be a far ride. It'd be like, probably I'm going to use 800 miles is what she probably rode, right?
Okay, all right.
Like not a short ride. And I'm like looking at the bike, and I'm like kind of looking at her, and I'm just like, have you like done stuff like this before? And she's like, no. I'm like, no. And I'm like, well, I was just like, well, I went to the shop that I go to, and the guy working said the best bike for touring is the bike you already own. So I used the bike I owned, and I rode here, and I'm gonna ride back.
Cool.
And I'm like, but like, how cool is that advice, right?
That's a legend.
Like
right
to
there.
just to give that advice, and then someone be like, you know what? Yeah, no, I didn't think of that. Like, I guess I'll buy these panniers and put them on my bicycle and ride from Quebec to Nova Scotia, and like and then not think about it. Like, just be like, yeah, this is cycling.
I mean, that's like, I did a live stream with Kai Venture, and I'm gonna butcher his last name again, but it's Ryan Doozer.
Van Duzer?
Dude, yeah. He rode across country on a 3-speed.
Right.
And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it was great. He's like, it was a Sierra Nevada, like, sponsored, like, built bike or whatever. He's like, yeah, it was great until the crank broke off, like, 90% of the way in. But I was like, what? And, like, you carried enough stuff? And he's like, yeah, I had a trailer. Like, I had this whole bit. I'm like,
yeah.
What? And like, there's like footage of him. He's filming himself like on a 3-speed in like sandals, essentially, like riding across country. I'm like, dude, that's rad. That's so cool.
But I think
like,
there's something to be said for maybe not being so performance oriented.
No,
and being like, you can ride a bike in sandals and regular clothes, and it doesn't need to be Dura-Ace.
Or also being in some ways.
Belgium, it was just, I mean, that was probably the most inspiring thing I've ever like listened to. Granted, it was my own live stream, but it was like, these dudes tell me a crazy story. I'm like, dude, this is insane. Like, you did this, and then like he's got such a positive outlook. But I'm just like, how the hell did you do that on like essentially a cruiser?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, I remember when we were on tour at camp, we were talking to this one kid. He must have been, I don't know, probably early 20s, late teens, and he was riding the Pacific Coast, and in just like gym shorts, t-shirt, and his bike was a Schwinn Continental, so not a light bike, probably like a one-piece crank, and he had the Bob trailer.
Oh my
god! Yeah,
it's so amazing. Like,
yeah, it was killing. And part of me is, there's a certain kind of, I don't want to say naivete, but in not being kind of indoctrinated by bike culture to just do something innocently and have fun, and not knowing that you're doing it wrong, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So. Like those are the stories that I like.
Yeah.
Because once that person gets back and they do talk to someone who's into cycling, they unfortunately learn that it's like, that's not like the way that would normally be done. And they've learned so much on that. They're like, oh, I understand because I was having that problem. Right. But like, I just thought that was like normal. It's like, no, that wouldn't necessarily be normal. And I think ignorance is bliss is probably the best way to put it right now. And
yeah, I mean, I think that was the same thing where I laughed. I asked him one time, I asked Ryan like during it, I was like, what do you like? I don't call my riding training, but I try to. But like, I was like, what do you do? He's like, I just ride around town. I haven't owned a car in like 10 years. And I was like, okay, so like, what do you ride? He's like, I don't know, I'm like 10 miles a day, but like every day. And I was like, okay. Yeah. He's like, and I was like, and then you just go ride to Baja? He's like, yeah. I was like, what? Like, like I was like, are you what? Like,
there is this idea like on in bicycle touring where you don't really have to train, especially this specifically on long tours. You end up riding yourself into shape, and it's in shorter tours you actually have to do training just because you have to ramp up just your fitness. But if you're out there long enough, you'll get fit enough to ride it eventually. It might be at the end or wherever, but
I get that, but still, like, dude, like you're riding like 1,000 miles across Baja in like 10 days or whatever it is, or whatever. Like, come on, man, with like fully loaded, like, all right, cool. I'm scared as hell for Grinduro later this year if it happens. Yeah. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, maybe it's when you put a time constraint on something that it really becomes a real challenge. Because maybe without a time constraint, if you are doing that ride and you're like, well, I only rode 20 miles is all I could do. And then you're just like proud of that. Like you're like, okay, great. Where like me, I'm like, I have to do like 300 kilometers today.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is in miles, but
it's like 12.
It's like 10 miles.
I know it's not impressive. I know that.
No, the only thing that's impressive is meters. Because I'll like see something like, oh, I only rode X amount of meters, and then I convert it into feet, and I'm like, oh my god, like
just times it by 3.
Yeah, exactly.
That one I know.
All right. So I think we're at the top of the hour. I think I'm gonna take it home. On that note. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us on this live stream. I hope you guys found it entertaining, somewhat educational, if not completely. Thanks again for all the people that sent in their pictures. I think it'd be a fun regular feature. What do you guys think? Should we keep? Because there's some things on those bikes that I wouldn't think to put together, but someone did, and it made a pretty cool combination.
They could potentially inspire future videos. Who knows?
That's true. That's actually the purpose, is to harvest content ideas from you guys.
But also the guy who had the box, like, please message whatever the hell that was in there or whatever, and what size bars you're riding. I just desperately want to know both those things.
Yeah. So if you guys want your Karina 42 is asking where should they send their pics? If you guys want your bike potentially internet famous on ACN, DM it to Alt Cycling on Instagram, and we will add it to the queue. So with all that said, thanks again for spending this hour and some change with us this evening, and we'll see you guys next week. All right, later.